deserves a living wage. And that is not $15 an hour. That's closer to $22 an hour. Of course, business is going berserk, saying that everything is going to cost more. Well, it does. That's what happens. When prices increase, everything costs more. For example, when food explodes, and we have a 50% increase in pork belly, and bacon all of a sudden costs twice as much. What do? Sue the supermarkets? They pay more, they pass on the cost. But that doesn't happen in terms of labor. Labor is a much bigger deal in terms of cost because it can only go up. It's never going to go back. But the philosophy is, the question is, does a living wage, is that determinative? Should we pay? I say yes. I have a very, very hard time watching someone working full-time and being food insecure, unable to pay the rent, unable to support any kind of a family. It's, it's a topic that makes you think. It really does. And it goes to the heart of our system. I've said this many, many times. The United States is not a good place to be poor. It really isn't. You go to Europe, that's where you want to be poor. Because there's this huge safety net that government has. With various programs, homeless programs, you don't see people living on the streets in Amsterdam, certainly not in any of the Scandinavian countries, because frankly, they fall asleep on the street, they wake up in their popsicles. So here, it's a different story. And Disneyland, of course, is fighting it like crazy. So it goes right back to defining ourselves as to what kind of society we want. And I'll pay more so you have a living wage. I truly will. Matter of fact, come next year I'm going to pay more anyway because we have Joe Biden as president. I'm going to pay a lot more, as you will. But for those of you that are earning minimum wage, particularly in those areas that are in the food service areas, the hospitality industry, where you can't work from home, you have to be there. And that's a tough one. And then there are hours. If people would work, and this is part of the lawsuit at Disney, people want second jobs. Because a lot of us have second jobs. But you can't at these places. Why? Because the schedule changes week to week. So there's no stability in terms of hours. And so many of these jobs are part-time. So as wages have increased, and they have increased, not dramatically, not crazily. Coming up, George Holliday. Does that name seem familiar to you? Well, it will as soon as I tell you the story. Poor man has died. But there is a backstory that I want to share with you. This is Kfi Am supporting the check-in with Jennifer Jones-Lee.
President Biden's addressed the UN General Assembly for the first time. He says the world has reached a clear and decisive point in time to deal with things like the pandemic and climate change. He also told delegates the U.S. plans to work with its partners and allies to help lead the world toward a prosperous future for everyone. KTLA is reporting the widow of Dodgers legendary manager Tommy Lasorda has died at the age of 91. Joe Lasorda died last night at the couple's home in Fullerton. The couple were married for 70 years. Tommy Lasorda passed away in January at the age of 93 after a heart attack. The Riverside County Board of Supervisors is expected to approve a proposed emergency outdoor warning system for communities in the San Bernardino National Forest. It will alert people about wildfires and other disasters. Speakers will be put up at fire stations, schools, camps, and other places, so information about public hazards can be broadcast to people. The project's expected to take about 2 years to complete. People living in wildfire areas of Northern California have one less thing to worry about.
Homeowners and renters in 22 counties are guaranteed not to lose property insurance policies for the next year. Insurance Commissioner Ricardo Lara has issued a temporary moratorium for about 325,000 policyholders who live near wildfires. This is the third year California has issued this moratorium since the law was first passed in 2018. Governor Newsom has issued 6 state of emergency declarations for wildfires since July. Deborah Marsh, KFI News.
A man's been killed in an officer-involved shooting in Signal Hill. Police say officers were called to a grocery store where there'd been a stabbing about 1 yesterday. They saw a guy with a knife running away, and when officers told him to stop, he turned around and allegedly attacked an officer. That's when he was shot and killed. 22 acres of tribal land at Cal State Long Beach will soon be permanently protected while permitting religious and cultural activities.
We will no longer be erased.
Hohokam Nation Tribal Manager Joyce Stanfield Perry says the settlement with CSULB prevents further development on what's left of the sacred land, which dates back 10,000 years.
95% of our ancestral sites have either been destroyed or paved over, so we're in the final hours here of just protecting everything and anything that we have left.
She says the lawsuit was filed when more than 6,000 tons of construction dirt was dumped on the site. CSULB says the settlement last week is consistent with the school's intent to protect the land. Corbin Carson, KFI News.
A new study found that renters in Riverside County on average are 3 years younger than those in LA County. Lending tree analysts say while younger renters appear to be attracted to Riverside County's cheaper price tag, they're still facing competition as rising home prices have pushed would-be home buyers into the rental market. And law enforcement agencies around the U.S. are taking part in a nationwide railroad crossing safety campaign. It's part of a Rail Safety Week, and it's aimed at reducing the number of railway crossings and trespassing incidents. Senior Program Manager with Safe Kids Worldwide, Najee Kirby, says the research shows every 5 days, a child is killed when hit by a train.
They walk along the tracks, use them as a shortcut, pose for selfies and things like that. So it's important for all age groups, but most specifically the teens that are kind of out and about, that they understand the dangers of the trains and the tracks.
He says between 2009 and 2019, more than 800 kids died from a rail-related injury, and more than 2,000 were hurt. We're looking at your drive on Sepulveda Pass.
You betcha. Going through it, boy, it's not easy. Good morning to you. Thanks for taking us along for the ride. Just want to give you a heads up. Boy, there's a lot of volume out here on our freeways this morning, so be prepared. Sepulveda Pass is indeed a slow one. There always seems to be a problem around Mulholland Skirball, but it was this driver of a rig in the car. They cleared a little while ago up to the shoulder. However, now, given up from the 118, it's truly stop and stop warning drive stuff, even the carpool lane. From around Sherman Way, up and over the hill, things won't get better until you clear Sunset Boulevard. Then finally, you're all cleared down to LAX. Now, Jen was just talking about Riverside, living in Riverside. Driving out of it is not easy this morning. That's another stop and stop kind of drive from before the 15 through the 71. Then finally, things will improve. Now, we're headed back to a problem right now. We just turned up the 405 to the Santa Monica, but North 110 at Adams before the 10. Boy, I've had the 2 right lanes blocked since 5 o'clock this morning. Another terrible trip all the way coming up from the 105. Surface streets are better, but again, hang in there. We'll have a look at it in just a few minutes. Injured in action at visit Superwoman, superlawyer.com. Jeff Law, KFI in the sky.
Medicare annual enrollment, that period is right around the corner, October 15th. Now, Medicare is there, but navigating Medicare can simply be overwhelming, which is why I'm suggesting you call the folks at AGA Medicare Options. Their team of experienced Medicare agents will advise you step by step on a plan that fits your unique situation and budget. And they'll compare all the major plans at once at no cost to you. Why is that important? Because the plans change every single year, sometimes dramatically. So even if they're already on Medicare, you can still set up a benefit review to ensure you're still on the best plan, and that is free. Call, set up a free consultation, dial pound 250 on your cell phone, and say, My Medicare. That's the keyword, pound 250 on the cell, and say, My Medicare. Or visit AGAMedicareOptions.com, AGAMedicareOptions.com.
SoCal weather from KFI, sunny and hot today. We have a heat advisory in effect in the Inland Empire starting at 10 this morning, lasting till 8 tonight. Temperatures will range from the mid-70s at the beaches, mid-80s, low 90s for Metro LA and OC, mid-90s and low 100s for the valleys and the IE. We lead local, live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. I'm Jennifer Jones-Lee.
The Delta variant is making COVID-19 spread faster and more easily. Variants can be more contagious, aggressive, and deadly. But we know vaccines work. Vaccinated Californians have greater protection against serious illness, hospitalization, and death. We can help stop the spread and end this pandemic. Get vaccinated and wear a mask when it can protect you and others. Find a vaccine near you at myterm.ca.gov. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
So you love those solar max panels,
I
right?
write Valentine's Day cards to my solar panels even when it's not Valentine's Day.
Meant to be together.
Absolutely. SolarMax has a brand new offer as well. They have the new Tesla 420 panels and power walls for $79.96 per month and $0 down.
Call pound 250 from your cell phone. Say that keyword SolarMax. Pound 250. Say SolarMax or go to SolarMaxTech.com.
Monthly payment available on approved credit. See SLB number 972048.
When Joe and I needed new windows over 20 years ago, we picked a company we thought would do a good job. We were so disappointed.
So we saw a genuine need for a company with strong character, one that people could have faith in.
American Vision Windows was born right then and there.
What sets American Vision Windows apart is easily the culture. Their greatest investment is in their employees, and it shows.
It was a great experience. I couldn't have asked for anything better.
I've been in the construction trade for 35 years. The level of quality of products that they use for their prep work was top-notch.
American Vision Windows continues to revolutionize the home improvement industry one customer at a time while changing the lives of our employees for the better. It's so simple.
Happy employees, happy customers.
For a limited time, American Vision Windows will pay the tax. Plus, you won't need to make payments for 6 whole months. Call 888-226-9908. That's 888-226-9908. Or visit AmericanVisionWindows.com. On approved credit, not all applicants will qualify. No restrictions apply. Call or see website for details. Offer ends 10/31/2021. CSLB number 778326.
Termite problems? Search PacificCoastTermite.com or call 800-PACIFIC.
KFI AM 640.
An iHeart radio station.
24-hour news. More stimulating talk.
Good morning, everybody. Bill Handel here on a Tuesday, September 21. The president just finished his usual speech. This one was in front of the UN. And you can, at this point, you can write a speech and have an impersonator do it because they're all exactly the same. And here's some good news. Johnson & Johnson said the booster of its one-shot vaccine provides a stronger immune response months after people receive the first dose. So they're moving for Johnson & Johnson's second shot, but it is considered a booster shot. So and then later on, I want to talk about the real reason we make decisions about the vaccine. And it gets a little deeper than just politics. Holiday, I don't know if that name is familiar to you. He just died of cancer in Simi Valley. No, he died of COVID. That's right, he died of COVID. He had been in the hospital for about a month, and he died. So far, George Holiday, amateur filmmaker. Well, amateur video recorder. And who did he record? This actually is considered the beginning of the white police beating black motorists and starting this entire movement. And we're talking about going way back to 1991, March 3rd. And what was happening? Well, the Rodney King incident was happening, where Rodney King was to be stopped by the police, and he just took off. And when he finally did stop, the police dragged him out of the car and started beating him, I mean mercilessly. Cracked skull, lacerations. And George Halliday, who had just gotten handy cam, I think is what they called it, one of the early videos, was videoing the whole thing. And he, the next day, called the police and said, and they wouldn't give him any information whatsoever. And he realized when watching the video footage, actually it was, one of the first video footage ways of filming. He had caught all of it. So he goes to police, they sort of say, we're not interested. So he goes to Channel 5, KTLA. And they see the video, and man, this thing explodes. And then the 4 cops that were involved in the beating were acquitted. Remember that Ethiopian attorney who actually defended the cops. It was in Simi Valley, and he got an acquittal with one hung jury. Well, as soon as that acquittal happened, Los Angeles exploded. It went into riots for days. 50 people died. The damage was in the billions of dollars, and he started it all. King, incidentally, died in 2012 at age of 47 and was awarded $3.8 million in damages. And he had quite a record himself. I mean, Rodney King had a felony conviction, a bunch of misdemeanor convictions, but what does it have to do with him being beaten up? Police didn't know that. They didn't know that he had these convictions. All it was a black guy driving and trying to escape the police. Can you imagine today, 4 cops dragging a motorist out of a car, and all he did was run from them? That was the crime. And completely beaten merciless. You know what he got for his video? $500 is what KCLA ended up paying him. I mean, he got nothing. Let me give you a little factoid. Does the name Zach Ruder mean anything to you? Well, you've seen an iconic photo or the footage that this was real footage. It was on an 8mm home amateur camera, and this was in Dallas, Texas. And this is the one video where you see JFK coming down the street, and all of a sudden he grabs for his throat, and then there's that sign that passes, that they pass, and then you actually see, literally, JFK's head being blown off, the top of his skull being thrown right off. I mean, just horrible, horrible footage. Life magazine, at that time, or Look magazine, paid him anywhere from, and we haven't gotten the full figures, from $250,000 up to $1 million. Oh yeah, he agented up immediately, and he got some huge dollars for that. Now, granted, one has historically much more experience, much more important if you're looking at big picture history. But you talk to the Black Lives Movement matter, and they're going to say that's not as important as the start of our movement, where we want equality. And I guess to some extent that's a good argument, because the assassination of JFK, did that really change everything? Well, you can argue when LBJ became president and the war in Vietnam, etc., so it rippled out. But the beating of Rodney King, that began this movement, this process that has historical, well, actually a biblical proportion in terms of changing America, how we do business, how we perceive police conduct. And so the death of George Halliday from COVID-19, 47 years of age. There is a wild story I want to share with you. And I've talked about this many times, how I deal with the police and how it has come to this. And I'll cover that when we come back. KFI Am 640, let's check in with Jennifer.
U.S. home construction rebounded 3.9% in August after a decline in July, with the increase coming from apartment construction. The guy's been shot and killed in a 2-car crash in El Monte, but cops don't know if he was shot by someone else or by himself. And a bronze bust of Burt Reynolds, featuring his famous cowboy hat and even more famous mustache, is now on top of his grave. The bust was unveiled at a small ceremony last night at Hollywood Forever Cemetery. We'll check your drive on the 110 with DKFI in the sky next.
If you thought you missed the lowest mortgage rates in history, you're in luck, because they're back. Mortgage rates are near historic lows again. So if you have a mortgage, refinance it and forget it. You'll never have to worry about refinancing again. Network Capital Funding is offering a low 15-year fixed rate at 1.75% with a 1.94 APR. Incredible! Network Capital has built a reputation for saving people time and money with our unique process that's fast, simple, and secure. Our 15-year fixed rate is 1.75% with a 1.94 APR. Now, second chances don't come often, and you may never see these rates again. So, refinance
Chance it and forget it. That's a 15-year fix at 1.75%. Yes, 1.75% with a 1.94 APR. Call the experts at Network Capital now. Call 800-500-1-HIT. 800-501-HIT. As in home run. Call now and save big on your refi. 800-500-1-HIT. 800-500-1448.
ID 11712, not licensed in all states. Visit NMLSConsumerAccess.org. Licensed by the California Department of Financial Protection and Innovation and Financing Law. Number 603D787. An equal opportunity lender. When subject to change and may not be available rate law. Discount may apply. Subject to quick approval. Call 800-500-1448 for additional cost information.
Opening back up. You check the news, you check with your friends, you check your math. But wait, did you check your breath? It's Smart Mouse, the only mouthwash that provides 24 hours of fresh breath with just 2 rinses a day. Find Smart Mouse in the mouthwash aisle at CVS. Or get 20% off at smartmouse.com/radio.
SoCal weather from KFI, sunny and hot with highs from the mid-70s at the beaches to the low 100s inland. This report is brought to you by Smart Mouse, the only 24-hour mouthwash with twice daily use. Let's look at that drive on the 110 again.
Oh boy, good morning to you now. If you just joined us, have to drive this North 110 Harbor Freeway. Listen up, we're at the critical mass stage here. Make the call, it's going to make you late. North 110 and Adams before the 10, 2 right lanes are still blocked. It's been replaced since 5 o'clock this morning. You know what happens. It is truly a parking lot, North 110, all the way back to the 105. Now, at this point, really, Surface Street, they really took a beating, especially Figueroa. I mean, it's really dense approaching USC campus, so it's really tough. If you get farther away from the 110, in other words, out to the east St. San Pedro or to the west side, Vermont, they're slightly better, maybe a little bit easier on the plains before. It's a really tough drive. Even the express lanes coming up are slow. Now, North 710, if that works for you, it's definitely slow coming up from the 105 up to the east lane. Since the east lane's open, I think it'd be a much easier drive. And we're going to head down to Long Beach, or to Long Beach, excuse me, and North 405, right outside Long Beach Airport. I know there's something going on there, really backed up from the 605. More on that coming up. The southbound drive, by the way, LAX to Kill Beach, at least that's looking pretty good. Engine in accident, visit Superwoman.com. Jeff Ball, KFI in the sky.
This report is sponsored by AIS Insurance.
Walter, how much did you save?
I saved $120 a month when I switched to AIS. When I heard the jingle, I remember the phone number and give a call. 1-800-777-4AIS.
1-800-777-4AIS. If you've been injured in an accident, hiring the right attorney matters. Sweet James Accident Attorneys have helped thousands of listeners and settled millions of dollars each month. Accident victims are not just numbers. Their stories are real, just like this one. Before her accident, a Sweet James client enjoyed spending time with her family and living a normal life. Until one day her life changed forever and she was terribly injured in a collision. The insurance company wouldn't even cover her surgeries and medical bills. Thankfully, her daughter hired Sweet James. Her team of attorneys fought hard to make sure she was able to receive all the care she needs. Sweet James was able to settle her case for $5.7 million. If anyone is ever injured in an accident, don't take the risk. Call Sweet James. Every case is different, and they can't guarantee the outcome, but it's important to get an experienced law firm on your side. Call for a free consultation at 800-500-5200. That's 800-500-5200 or sweetjames.com.
Income-eligible renters impacted by COVID-19 can now get 100% of their pass-through rent and utility bills paid through the California COVID-19 Rent Relief Program. Landlords with tenants who haven't paid rent because of COVID-19 are eligible for 100% reimbursement too. The application is fast. Your information is private, and you won't be asked about citizenship. Apply at housingis2.com before eviction protections end on September 30th. Brought to you by the California Department of Housing and Community Development.
Hey, Conway here. Know why I got a whole house water filtration system from Sheridan Water? Because I don't want to wonder if my family's tap water is safe. No more wasting money on bottled water, no plastic bottles to recycle, and no more visits to the chiropractor's office because you're lifting 5-gallon bottles of water or 40 pounds of salt. No calcium buildup on faucets or shower heads, and not alone is worse. Sheridan extends the life of your water heater. Things on with this clean water. Sheridan Water offers free lifetime service. No one else can make that claim. The system takes up a little tiny amount of space. So let's get Triton, California's preferred whole house water filtration system. And for a limited time, when you buy a whole house system, you get the 6-stage alkaline drink system for free. 844-80-WATER. 844-80-WATER. That's P-U-R, again, water.com. Spelled wrong, but the water's right. 844-80-WATER.
I think he heard you, officer.
You'll remember your best friend. Water, you're
COVID, COVID clinics can help with multiple locations. Throughout SoCal, COVID clinics offer testing for schools, businesses, or travel with no cost to patients. Testing available and rapid results that can detect the Delta variant. Results usually available within an hour. And if you test positive, COVID clinics can help you find treatment. Even if you're vaccinated, you can still contract COVID, especially during the holiday season. Find your nearest location at covidclinic.org. That's covidclinic.org.
I am one of thousands of women with metastatic breast cancer, or MBC.
Which is breast cancer that has spread to other parts of the body.
I am living in Enrollment and taking Ibrance, palbociclib.
Ibrance 125 milligram tablets with an aromatase inhibitor is for postmenopausal women or for men with HR-positive, HER2-negative MBC as the first hormonal-based therapy.
Be in your moment. Ask your doctor about Ibrance and visit Ibrance.com. Ibrance may cause low white blood cell counts that may lead to serious infections. Ibrance may cause severe inflammation of the lungs. Both of these can lead to death. Tell your doctor right away if you have new or worsening symptoms, including trouble breathing, shortness of breath, cough, or chest pain. Before taking Ibrance, tell your doctor if you have fever, chills, or other signs of infection, liver or kidney problems, are or plan to become pregnant, or are breastfeeding. Common side effects include low red blood cell and low platelet counts, infections, tiredness, nausea, sore mouth, abnormalities in liver blood tests, diarrhea, hair thinning or loss, vomiting, rash, and loss of appetite.
Our 2021 iHeartRadio Music Festival.
Hello, iHeartRadio fans!
The biggest superstars from all genres of music. Once-in-a-lifetime collaboration. And history-making moments.
That's what iHeartRadio is all about.
All on one stage.
You have to see this to believe it.
Get ready for the two-night iHeartRadio Music Festival event. Saturday, October 2nd and Sunday, October 3rd at 8, 7 Central. Only on the CW.
Let's get to know KFI's Employee of the Month, Mo Kelly.
More pet peeves than I care to even acknowledge. I notice people who don't have good spelling, who have very poor grammar. You're telling me after 12 plus years of schooling, you can't learn the difference between two, and two, or there, and there? Damn, man!
Congratulations to Mo Kelly, KFI September 2021 Employee of the Month. KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk.
KFI AM 640. Bill Handel here on a Tuesday morning, September 21. The President just finished his first UN General Assembly speech, calling for intensive diplomacy to combat climate change and to deal with COVID-19. And boy, that's unusual. You wouldn't expect that, would you? And the autopsy of the body found in Wyoming, believed to be that of Gabby Petito, will be performed today. In the meantime, the fiancé, Brian Laundrie, is still missing. And his parents are up to their eyeballs, I believe, in hiding him. They're not talking. They've lawyered up. And the case is, boy, it's going to be a big one for a while. Let me tell you what's going on. And this is a sidebar story to police misconduct. And you've seen people at demonstrations throwing up their hands. We're talking about the demonstrators against police or arguing against police misconduct, raising their hands and saying, don't shoot, don't shoot. Well, this is sort of an offshoot of that. The Minnesota Department of Public Health has a new plan to keep drivers safe during traffic stops. Clear plastic folders called not reaching pouches. You put your driver's license, insurance information, registration in plain view, so a cop doesn't think you're grabbing for something inside the car in a way that is dangerous to police officers. Particularly talking about the glove department. You're opening a glove department, the cop can't see what's inside. So this is the cops that are handing out these pouches. And according to the Department of Public Safety's view, the pouches are just one way to reduce in what the agency euphemistically calls deadly force encounters. And we know that. Officers can freak out when drivers, particularly black motorists, because of the way whites view blacks, especially when we're talking about police, and getting better, but still there. And so when anybody who stops for a ticket, speeding or whatever, is quickly reaching in the glove compartment, they have a good shot of getting shot. And what this does is going to avert all of this. You want to make it as easy for a police officer as possible, and this makes so much sense, the not reaching pouch. It started with a woman, and if you remember Felipe Castillo, who was shot, and he was dragged from the car. Well, his wife, Valerie Castillo, his widow, is actually his mother, who joined up and formed this nonprofit to distribute these pouches. And there's a lot of backlash on this, where people were saying, come on, how big a deal is this you're going to talk about, and everybody going crazy? It's a pouch. It's a plastic pouch. Well, it's more than a plastic pouch. It says a tremendous amount of the way we're dealing with the police, and this reduces the risk. And I've said many, many times, as I've been stopped by the cops, a couple of times, and as I'm pulled over, hands go on the steering wheel with fingers out, and the policeman says, can I see your driver's license and registration? And I say, officer, it's in the glove compartment. I'm going to reach over and take it out of the glove compartment, carefully, slowly. Same thing with my driver's license, where I tell the officer it's in my left pocket, and I'm going to take it out slowly, carefully. That's my version of the not reaching pouches. But they're also being called "Don't Murder Me" bags. And it says a lot. Now, I think these are a great idea. Almost to the point where I would mandate these things, because I'm willing to bet it is going to bring down the police force, especially the police who are not experts at de-escalating incidents, bring down the incidents of misunderstandings where the police freak out. The police are simply afraid of their lives when furtive moves are made. And one of the stories that we're covering, and this is a big one, police are very jittery now. Police are reluctant to act. Police can overact or overreact. And this is a pretty good idea. Don't murder me badge. Well, I wouldn't put that down there. I'm looking at one, and it simply says not reaching. Driver's license, insurance card, registration, it's all in this little pouch. All right, makes sense. I'll buy that. Coming up, Tech Tuesday with Rich DeMuro. Got a lot to cover this morning. This is KFI AM 640. Let's check in with Jennifer.
John and Ken, afternoon. KFI.
And KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
Possibly more victims. I'm Jennifer Jones-Lee, live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. An Army vet's been charged in connection with 3 women in Aliso Viejo who were choked unconscious and dragged into the bushes to be raped.
OC Sheriff Don Barnes says Robert Yukas is a cargo pilot who was arrested in Alaska.
Based on his pattern and practice and his ability to travel not only throughout the United States and abroad, I have no doubt that there are other victims that exist.
He says an anonymous tip led to DNA in a San Diego assault, which matched DNA in a Riverside assault, where Yukas now lives, all which led to multiple felony charges for the Aliso Viejo attack.
We can live a little safer today, knowing that Mr. Yukas is no longer roaming the streets.
A tip line has been set up so people can report any other attacks. In Orange County, Corbin Carson, KFI News.
President Biden has addressed the United Nations General Assembly for the first time. He says the world has reached a point in time when it needs to address pressuring issues like COVID-19 and climate change.
This is the clear and urgent choice that we face here at the dawning of what must be a decisive decade for our world. A decade that will quite literally determine our future.
Biden has also told delegates the U.S. is ready to work with any country that wants peace. The LA County Health Department has been busy checking businesses for COVID-19 protocol compliance.
Officials say from September 4th through the 10th, inspectors visited 909 restaurants, 214 food markets, 45 gyms, 1 brewery, 25 hotels. They say the majority of businesses were in compliance, but places that needed improvement included fitness centers, garment manufacturing plants, and retail stores. From the 4th through the 10th, 8 citations were issued to fitness centers and restaurants for non-compliance with health officer orders. A recent modified health order requires vaccination proof for indoor areas of bars, lounges, nightclubs, breweries, wineries, and distilleries. Steve Gregory, KFI News.
1,000 people have died from COVID-19 in Long Beach. The city's facilities and landmarks were lit up last night in honor of those who have died. The city is also creating a digital memorial wall to remember those who lost their lives. COVID-19 has been the city's leading cause of death for the past 18 months. The father and son charged in the death and disappearance of college student Kristen Smart could find out tomorrow if they go to trial. The 7th week of the preliminary hearing resumed yesterday in San Luis Obispo. A prosecution witness says he used to rent a house from the father, Ruben Flores, and Flores refused to let plumbers under the rental house to do repairs. Prosecutors have said Smart's remains are or have been on the property owned by Flores. Paul Flores has been accused of raping and killing Smart following a party near the campus of Cal Poly San Luis Obispo in 1996. A newly announced candidate for mayor of LA is making homelessness one of her top priorities.
President of the Central City Association of LA, Jessica Law, says homelessness is the most important issue LA is facing.
It's the issue tearing at the very fabric of the city we love.
Her plan includes a push for more recovery housing to help people in mental health crises stabilize.
We will modify our affordable housing programs to get this specialized housing built fast.
She'd also consider raising funds to take action against other LA County cities who she says aren't doing their fair share. Blake Trolley, KFI News.
The man who became famous for filming the beating of Rodney King by cops 30 years ago has died from COVID-19. George Holliday was a plumber when he caught the beating on video in Lakeview Terrace. He was 61. Canadians have voted Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's Liberal Party back into office in their preliminary elections, but not with an overall majority.
You are sending us back to work with a clear mandate to get Canada through this pandemic and to the brighter days ahead. My friends, that's exactly what we are ready to do.
The Liberal Party has won the most seats of any party, and Tommy Lasorda's widow has died 8 months after the famous Dodger manager died. Joe Lasorda was married to Tommy Lasorda for 70 years before his death in January. She died last night at her home in Fullerton. She was 91. We're looking at your drive on the 710.
All right, you betcha. Good morning. Now, I'm going to start with the North 710 just to assure you that look at these alternatives before we offer them to you. And we're going to talk about this because of problems on the 110, actually. But North 710, change all the way down to 405. Yes, indeed, it is slow, but it is, at least it's moving traffic somewhat. And especially once you get past Firestone, the pace will pick up a little bit. Now, the reason for this is the North 110 at Adams. People send them on the freeway. 2 blocks at 5 o'clock this morning. It is a parking lot all the way back to the 105. Even the surface streets coming alongside there are pretty good. I would get as far away from the 110 as you can. Go east to San Pedro, maybe west of Vermont. That'll help you out. Now, quite a problem on the northbound 405 right outside Long Beach Airport. It was before Cherry. We just flew over this, and this crash that wasn't lanes over to the shoulder now, but coming up from Los Al and Seal Beach, it's real slow. Even the Barstool lane is slow. But once you get up to the 710, things are